Hello, my name is Alun, and today I'm facilitating the second session of a short series, getting shorter by the minute, conceivably, a short series of Eotenweard. You want to know more about Eotenweard, go back and see the first session, and maybe have a look at the, I think, 40 odd sessions of game development that you can find on my YouTube channel. This game is organized as part of the Open Hearth gaming community. If you don't know the Open Hearth, then please do come find us by Google searching Open Hearth Gaming and come play with us because we think that, as an online gaming community, we've got a pretty good table culture and play some fun games. That said, today we were expecting four players. And at the moment, we've got two. Now, we run a system called Open. Yes, there they are. We've got a system called Open Doors, which means sometimes stuff comes up in people's lives, so they may join once we've got going. But we're going to play on with two and see how far we get. So, with that in mind, I think that what I'd like to do is to set the scene, picking up exactly from where we left off last time. But I think there's always going to be in that Netflix series that previously on, isn't there? So I wondered if one of either Arianwen or Sister Sal, Paul, if you can rename yourself to Sister Sal as well, that'd be great. Would like to give me a snapshot of previously on. No pressure. I can fill in if not.
I'm more than happy to once I've done a rename. Let me just drop in there.
We found this village, and there was a huge, horrible thing on the cathedral, I think.
There was.
So we went in there, and before we could hardly do anything, this rider came in. He didn't look so well. And he smashed into the palisade around the village, and he died. It was really sad. At this point, she tears up.
Ariane, when
Waves at Sal to continue the narrative.
What
It was
what can you
indeed.
what can you offer me, sister?
It was indeed a terrible moment, Ariane one. But the dead horse and the dead horseman provided us an insight into what was going on in the village. Some characters we saw as we were approaching the village. A priest staring out of a church window down towards the hall, looking at a young girl in a despicable manner while she prayed to God. We also saw a sheep herder far from their flock, cowering in the center of the town while their flock was out in the fields. In
That
the
made me
distance, we
sad.
could see some
That made me
Roman
sad because
ruins.
that made me sad because what about the sheep? No one ever thinks about them.
No, nobody ever thinks about the sheep. Uh, and there was also a glowing entrance to the underworld, uh, which later we find out is known locally as the Devil's Crevice.
Which smells of brimstone. And there you encountered a cave troll of some description who you drove off. But I think Ariane went and found some animal bones.
I
So
did. I also found a bad saint in the church that wasn't supposed to be there, so I broke it.
indeed you did. An odd statue to an unknown or
Yes,
controversial saint.
the Lord said, "I don't like this at all. You should do something about that." And I went, "Yes, Lord." And so I picked it up and I cast it down, and I felt better after that.
Of course. And we know from previous flashbacks that God does indeed talk to you. So we have currently we have four insights. We have the pustules spread from animals. The horse and the rider proved to be diseased. The rider survived and is being looked after by this lustful priest. Um, the odd statue to an unknown or controversial saint. The scent of hellfire on the wind, which may have come from the Devil's Crevice, where the brimstone smell was. And in the Devil's Crevice, you discovered animal bones. So those are the four insights currently. Were you to seek at this point to try to string those together into a coherent narrative that revealed the nature of the darkness, you would be rolling +2. or if you want to go in search of a final insight, then that will get you to +3. So what do you've emerged from the Devil's Crevice, and I'm going to suggest that the character that was here last week who isn't here this time is Kellen, the Celtic mystic, wanders off muttering. And so it's down to you two. What do you want to do?
She did indeed suffer many wounds.
Yes.
And we are both healthy, so it falls to us.
Right. I think we know what's happening, don't you? Yes, you do.
Indeed.
Do you? Oh, good. I was afraid there for a moment you didn't. So, someone did a bad thing here.
There is definitely a bad thing going on, and we must stop it, Arianwen.
Right. But I mean, they did a bad thing there in the crevice with the bones.
Something has gone on.
I think maybe they prayed to someone that they shouldn't have.
Well, it sounds to me like you are triggering the revelation move, which you will find on the additional moves tab. When the heroes agree to consider the insights they've accumulated, they connect them into a coherent narrative that they agree identifies who or what embodies the darkness that besets this settlement. So we have 4 insights that I just summarized. And if you can include them in this narrative drive, then I will add them to your roll. So who would like to pick one to start with? Arianwen, you're inspired by God.
Yes, God says that these bones were used in a ritual to try to destroy the town. Somebody really had it in for them. And so they worked a bad magic or prayed to the wrong people, which is pretty much the same thing.
I like that.
Depending on how you look at it.
So these bones, how do you connect those bones, Sister Sal, to one of the other insights?
I think we see from behind somebody burning.
Oh, Sinner has just arrived.
Thanks be to God. I was praying for them to come. As Arianwen, who it's not clear was doing any praying.
Let me just explain. Sinner, just to explain, we weren't certain whether people were going to be here, so we've made a start on trying to work out what's going on here. So they literally have just started trying to connect the insights, which you discovered last time, into a narrative that will explain what's going on here. So can we just reprise that for Sinner while they kind of get their head in the game, so to speak? So Arianwen, talk to me again about these animal bones that we found at the end of last session.
These animal bones, they have these markings on them, which are ritual marks that have been made with a tool or maybe with teeth if you had really big, sharp teeth. Anyway, they have clearly been used as in a rite to cause a calamity, to curse someone or something. I can't tell by who yet.
So these animal bones have been used in a ritual or sacrifice or something. Sister Sal, where do you want to go with the narrative from there?
I think we see something or somebody burning these animal bones, some of them, and a noxious smoke coming off of them.
Which you are going to tell me is the scent of hellfire.
The scent of hellfire.
So is the implication that these bones are part of a ritual to invoke demonic forces? Okay. So these bones have been used in a ritual to invoke demonic forces. Sinner, would Kellen like to connect that to one of the remaining two? We've got an odd statue of an unknown or controversial saint and pustules spread from animals. They're on the Dincynog tab, those insights. And perhaps to help here, I will remind you that Ariane Wen had an image of an enormous black thing sitting atop the church when you first arrived.
I have an idea about that too, but I want to hear what Helen has to say.
So far we had that these bones are smoking have this scent, and that they've been chewed on. Did I catch that correctly?
They've been marked. Now,
right.
And I think they might have been marked by teeth, but they seem to have been deliberately marked in a way that suggests they are connected to a ritual. And what Sister Sal is saying, I think, is there's also sign of them having been burnt. And when you smell them, there is the scent of hellfire, which is where we get to the second insight that's ticked. So
there's often rituals.
Well, hang on. Let Kellen run with the ball.
I think that the controversial saint that we found in the church, I think that person became a saint because they were known to do some sort of self-flagellation, and it would often take the shape of some strange marks on their skin that some speculated would have been heretical, and that's why they're controversial.
Oh, I like that. So this controversial saint perhaps carved or marked these symbols or sigils into their skin. Oh, that makes them controversial. So, Ariane Wen, do you want to make a connection back around to pustules spread from animals?
Yes, I do. By making those marks on the bones and by burning them and having the smoke wafting towards the town, drawn by the saint who bore those same marks on him, it caused the nearby animals to become sick with the demonic taint, and they came down in horrible pustules, which then spread to people and towards the town at probably terrifying speed. With the idea of making everyone sick and the town disperse or die or something.
Now, that is a very convincing narrative, my friends. Sister Sal, coming around to you in order. Does this suggest to you the form or nature of the darkness that you must now confront if you are to free this village from the weight under which it labors?
I believe it does.
What is the form of the darkness? Or what do you believe the form of the darkness is, should I say?
I think it is somebody within the village with marks upon their body. And I think they're the embodiment of some evil creature has now manifested itself in human form.
And do you want to suggest, based on our supporting cast to date, who you believe that is? We have, and I will remind you, we have Effa the cowardly herder, Elfgiver the pious servant or slave, Father Bran the lustful priest, and the secretive Lady Cyril.
I think the secretive Lady Cyril.
Always royalty or nobility or whatever she is.
They always have bigger games they like to play.
And your speculation here, Sal, is that what? She is an embodiment or has been possessed by whatever is causing this? Or
yes, by the large sort of black shadowy creature
squatting over the church. I like that. Okay, so I think that you have connected those perfectly to me. And if I then take you back to the additional moves, revelation, then having confirmed exactly who or what embodies the darkness, the fates ask the heroes to frame this climatic scene. So let me come around to Kellen and ask the first question. When do you intend to confront Lady Cyril? It is currently, I think, late in the day. Dusk, even.
Well, I reckon most evil things are creatures of the night. So I think we would get upon her in the very hours of the dawn, when she should be
Fine,
weakest.
fine. So tomorrow at dawn. Where will you confront them, Arianwen?
On the steps of her house, after probably ringing a big bell to wake everyone up. I'm just saying, or maybe shouting. I can shout pretty loud.
Okay, the threshold of her hall. Sister Sal, which NPC or NPCs will be present in the scene other than Lady Cyril? And why do you think they are there? It could be to do with ringing the church bell. I don't know, but who do you want present?
Elf Giver is there, the pious servant, and she is carrying laundry, the lady's laundry, and her shirt, her undershirt, is there. ...
Okay. Does anyone want one of the other NPCs that we've created so far to be present, or are you content to this be Lady Cyril and Elf Giver, the slave? What do you think, Kellen?
I do think we want the priest there since she has corrupted his church.
I like that. Father Bran is going to be there. Why is he going to be there? Are you going to confide in him that you believe that he is that she has polluted his place of worship, or how else are you going to get in there, or why do you think he turns up?
Well, I'm personally there to accuse him of letting this happen.
Fine. So it sounds like Arianwen is going to ring the church bell. That is going to rouse the priest, and then he's going to follow you out for this confrontation with Lady Cyril. Does that seem the setup that we're envisaging?
Yes.
Fine. Let me come round to Arianwen last then. What do you fear will happen as you confront the darkness, Arianwen?
Well, when you confront darkness, it becomes desperate. And it will either try to strike people down with pox, or else it will seize hold of people and make them try to kill you. I'm not really sure which one, honestly.
So you're afraid that it's going to turn people against you or infect more people, that kind of something.
Yes.
It's going to work through others.
Yes, it's going to make this corrupt move. Well, it's, the darkness hates manifesting, for some reason. So it's going to pretend for as long as it can.
Okay, so I think now I've got a pretty clear framing for the scene. So then the fates ask which hero will roll plus the number of insights. Who wants to roll 2d6 plus 2? Nothing else applies to this roll. It's a straightforward 2d6 plus 2. Would anyone like to volunteer for that? If I keep going around in this cycle, I should ask Sister Sal first.
I've rolled these dice many a time, so I'm happy to pass it on, unless neither people want to roll. It's not that it could roll badly. It's just, it's a big part of the game. You guys haven't played it. I have lots of time, so I can throw it if you want me to.
I feel like it would be most appropriate for Arianwen to do it.
It does, given that this is all about demonic kind of messing with the church and stuff. It does feel like God might be, as dawn rises and the clouds part, that beam of light falls on Arianwen. Or she's convinced it has, I suppose, to other observers. Yes. It may not appear like that.
Well, they don't have the sight, which is, everyone has their own gifts.
So yes, 2d6 and add 2.
Here, I'm going to roll it. Here it is. Boom, 9.
9. Okay, so on 7 to 9, the fates will add an unwelcome or dangerous complication related to what they fear most. So you are right. Lady Cyril is indeed the embodiment of darkness here. Kellen, when you confront her on the steps, what happens immediately that confirms that she is the embodiment of the darkness here?
I think as we accuse her, the marks on her body bleed.
Oh, yes. So what she's been covering up suddenly becomes visible. So she reaches towards you and says, "This is absolute rubbish." And her sleeve pulls up, her cloak falls away, and you see marks similar to that on the bone shard, and they begin to bleed. I like that. What happens next? Arianwen, what do you do?
I do. I at the top of my voice, I go, "The Lord will smite you down for this, you rotten person. Fear my wrath," I say, brandishing my stick at her.
Okay. Sister Sal, what are you going to do in this context? Because the suggestion here is that she is embodying an aspect of hell. And you, though you appear as though butter would not melt in your mouth, are a demon.
Indeed, I am. I'm going to convince the priest to attack her.
Okay. Now, has anyone got any debts with this village? Our Celtic mystic is owed a debt by this village. So if I refer to the debt and harm tab, it is possible to spend a debt a faction owes you, a village owes you, when you agree with the fates how the debt could be spent to grant you advantage. By saying which named NPC enters the scene intending to aid you, though then I'll say what happens once the advantage is exploited. So Kellen, you could cash in that debt to now do something involving the priest.
I'd like the priest to fall down at our knees, fall on his knees in front of us, and confess his powerlessness against this creature.
I'm not going to make you roll for that, and I won't even have you spend that debt. That is what he does. So the priest falls to his knees. He says, I didn't know who it was, but I am unworthy to confront her. Sister Sal, what do you do?
Rise to your feet, priest. Earn your respect in front of God.
I'm going to give you advantage for that because I think that you are making an appeal. You can convince him to do that with advantage. Roll plus subtle, unless you've got something better you want to throw in my direction.
No, subtle is good. Just to be fair, I am at disadvantage against the village, but I also have an advantage against the priest. So it's still 2 pluses against 1 minus.
It is. So that is still 3d6. Take the top 2.
I rolled a 6 and a 2 on 2d6, give me 8 plus my subtle of 2 gives me 10.
On a 10, they do it. And you pick one. Say how what they do grants you advantage going forward. I think that's probably more relevant than owe you a debt. So what is it that the priest does that creates an opening for you?
Oh, he lunges completely in disregard of his own safety against the monster. Oh, look, a priest of God has died. What a shame.
How does he die, Helen? Given that we think that this is some kind of demon-wielding pestilence, what happens when Father Bran, goaded by Sister Sal, launches himself with his cross at the Lady Cyril?
Let me check the safety things real quick.
Ooh, this sounds interesting.
War has been interested.
He launches himself at forward, and as he hits the ground, he just falls onto his face, and his skin just remains on the ground while his face continues sliding forward.
Oh, wow.
As if on a
Wow.
burn victim, his skin just sloughs off whenever it meets friction.
And the last thing we see of the priest is he looks back at Sister Sal and says, I know you, and then dies. Arianwen, what do you do when the priest is brought so low by this horrific skin sloughing disease?
Going to invoke God by singing a hymn at the top of my lungs and getting all the words wrong. And did these feet, dum 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 dum, clap upon some place loud and from.
It's the thought that
Wait a
counts.
moment.
Does this amount to
It's
speaking in
pseudo-Latin.
tongues?
Yes, I'm speaking in. I'm singing it in Latin, but I have all the words mixed up,
Okay.
so that it doesn't make any sense whatsoever. And I seem to have shoved in the words from, nursery rhymes and place names and things
I
like that.
like that. So, say what clue your patron inserts in your rant from your life before you were touched, and roll plus favor.
So the clue that my patron inserts is I remember waking up, not remembering how I got there. All I had on me was I was in rags. I had a cross, and I didn't remember everything except that I was wet head to toe as if I had been in a rainstorm.
Fine.
And I decided, and that's what I remember.
That's fine. Roll plus favor.
Here we go. And
Wow. You're just killing me, guys. 7 plus. Say who or what attention you attract and how that places them at disadvantage. I think I
I'm
know who.
attracting, yes, her. And how it played at disadvantage. This is actually a him, even though Ariane's got it wrong. And Ariane's faith is strong, even if she has no,
Actual
even if
knowledge.
is she a saint? Is she not a saint? Does she actually know anything? No, these are unanswered questions, but she believes with every fiber of her being, and it is shaking them.
Fine. Cyril is at disadvantage. There's no downside to that roll. I think it's time I began to unleash a bit of some sense of what Cyril is about here. So what I think we will see is Cyril's skin begins to bubble in a pustular manner and begins to slough away. And something under her cloak is moving. So one of her defenses are her wings, which as you are watching through this, Kellen, you see them finally just shred the cloak. They seem to be made out of incredibly sharp feathers, black feathers. So she has wings. That is one of your problems. The second of her problem is as the cloak shreds and her skin sloughs away, you see that she has scales beneath that seeming of humanity. So that is another of your problems. And the third of your problems is that she opens her mouth and you see that her tongue parts into, I don't know if any of you have ever seen a housefly under a microscope, but her tongue comes forth and swells with pustules. And she has a poisonous spit that is a problem for you. Okay? So you have 2 defenses, and I'm hinting that there's something about her spit. Yeah?
And just to remind you, Alan, we only got 7 to 9 on the revelation.
Oh, you did. And I've got a complication in mind.
Do you wish to bring in the cave troll again?
No, not yet. Not yet.
Before we get into this like showdown proper, I have a roll that's supposed to be made at the top of the session. Should we take that now?
I dreamed a dream. Yes, please. At the start of every session, roll 2d6. Oh, a 1 and a 2. Well, I mean, write them down because you may want to replace a 1 later on with that 2.
Okay.
No, on a 6 minus, the Fates gains a hold to spend to place you at disadvantage later in the session. So Cyril is at disadvantage, but she also has a disadvantage to play against Kellen. Oh, wow. What can I say? Yes, chef's kiss. So, yeah, this is about demons and gods. The old gods are not playing ball here, Kellen. So, let me go to Arianwen and say, do you want to try to neutralize the wings that she has? Because that's going to allow her to work in 3 dimensions.
Yeah.
Or the scales? And if so, how?
I think the wings. And I think that the wings are still kind of unfolding.
Mm-hmm.
And she hasn't taken to the air yet.
No.
And I'm going to stride up the steps with my stick, and my face is going to contort, and I'm going to say, the Lord is very angry with you. And I'm going to try to deal her a powerful blow to the wing on one side, such that it will be hard for her to fly.
Okay, so this sounds like you are confronting her. Is this an act of faith or a physical act? Is this steel or favor?
I think probably this is steel. This is just anger. I am, I basically say, what a giveaway. When looking at her, it's obviously redundant. And then it's like, go away and leave these people alone. And I try to bash her.
Fine. Try to damage one of the joints on her wings. So Go ahead, roll plus steel. She is currently at disadvantage. So if we wanted to use that up.
I don't want to use that up.
Okay.
So I rolled an 8.
8. Okay, so on a 7+, that defense is erased. You crack one of those joints on her left wing, and it shriveled. It kind of crushes in, so she won't be able to fully spread it. On 7+, that defense is erased, but they pick 1. They use a power. She spits in your face. Would you roll to face a challenge to avoid the consequence of that, please?
Yes. What do I roll with?
I think this is, to be honest, it's either sense, because I described this kind of swelling tongue and hinted at that, so maybe you spotted that, or it is steel to have dodged it. Take your pick.
No, I think I knew it was coming.
So you're all hopeful
with a tongue like that. I remember. Did I read about that? Can I read? I'm not sure I can read.
You can't remember reading.
No, maybe. I faintly remember reading, but I'm not sure I actually can read. So probably I didn't read it. But anyway, long story short, I think I know it's coming, and so I duck.
Roll plus sense. Roll sense to have spotted it coming, or steel to actually dodge.
Sense to spot it coming.
Spot the risk. Roll plus sense. Go for it. Close run thing. So on an 8, I think that you do succeed, but I'm going to mark harm, I think. And the nature of the harm, she is one harm. One harm. This corrosive spit batters your face and causes you one harm.
I fall at my eyes.
Sister Sal, what do you do?
I'm going to lunge at her with my knife.
Okay, and presumably trying to find a weak spot in these scales.
In these scales, yes.
Okay, go for it.
I'm going to use their disadvantage.
Okay.
So I'm going to roll with advantage. Still leaving an advantage on the table.
There is.
If Quellen wants to use it to negate the disadvantage. So here we go. 3d6.
A 1, a 2, and a 1.
I think we need a bit of favour here. I think we need the dark ones to.
Do you want to call on your patron or seek the help of another hero?
I'll call on the. I don't know if does another hero want to hit assist.
I think Arianwen is probably stumbling away from the spit, so it comes down to Kellen, whether Kellen wants to get up close and personal with this to help Sal.
Yeah, I have a good stick and I have wrath in my heart. I'll join in on this.
Thanks.
Okay. Now, do you want to mark wrath? Do you want to become wrathful here? And that would increase your favor by 1, apart from anything else.
I do think so. Generally, she's an old woman. It's not a good idea for her to be in a fist fight, but the anger gets the best of her, especially in a high-stakes situation as this.
Fine. Now, that may make it difficult for her to stop hitting things, but we'll worry about that when the time comes. So, you have an advantage in your pocket here, I think. So you roll 3d6 to help another hero. Take the top 2.
Okay.
Oh, that looks pretty good, doesn't it? That looks like a 10 plus steel.
11.
11. Wow. On a 7 plus, their outcome includes, so that failure for Sister Sal becomes a mixed success. Not bad. And on a 10 plus, there are no downsides for either of you. So that's great. On a 7 plus, how does this look? How does this going to be a failure, Kellen, turn into success, albeit at a bit of a cost?
Could you recap what Sal did?
Sal lunged at her with their dagger, their knife, intending to find a weak spot in this scaly skin.
Having stood off to the side, I'm gonna close in rapidly, holding my stick like a spear, and I'm gonna shove her against a wall.
Fine. Yeah, no, I like that. And that makes it an easier target for Sal, who is about to negate those scales. On a 7 plus, it's gone. They pick 1. I see no reason why they shouldn't spit in your face as well, Sal, because, that knife is up close and personal. So you too can take a harm. And on a 10 plus,
do I get to dodge it or no? It was coming.
No, you rolled to confront and you got a 7 to 9. So there's a consequence of a 7 to 9 there. On a 10 plus, you get some extras, but you don't. So to sum up then, Cinna has her against the wall. We've negated the scales. We've negated the wings. She is still spitting this corrosive material at people. What happens next, Arianwen?
Look at my eyes. And she has spit in my face, so I have trouble seeing. And so I'm going to close my eyes and use my sight to find her black heart.
Okay. You close your eyes.
What I think is her black heart.
Because just to explain the rules, when a threat has no remaining defense, you can move on to humbling them. So this is an effort to humble them with favor. Yeah. So you're using the fight to find her vulnerability. So you get to roll plus favor, I think, because you're using the sight. So roll plus favor, and let's see how it goes.
Is there an advantage left?
I'm not sure there is.
Well,
I didn't
I
think
use
so.
the disadvantage. There is
On
an
hit.
advantage.
Didn't Kellen use that?
Oh, if can we use the advantage
Yeah.
then?
Yeah,
Okay.
we're down to 2d6 plus.
All right. Here we go.
2d6 plus favor.
9.
9. 9 on a 7 to 9. On a 7 plus, spend favor because you used it. On 7 plus, they are at your mercy. Do you spare them or end them?
I'm going to drive the thing out. As to whether there's anything of Lady Serial left, we're going to find out.
Okay, so
I put my hand on her heart, and I say, "Thing from, from beyond this veil, depart and never return." And I'm going to channel the power of the Lord to drive it away from her.
I like that. And so Serial, if you spare them, Serial owes you a debt. So the village continues to owe you a debt. You're not on 10 plus, so there's no upside to that. You do indeed drive this demon of pestilence out of Lady Serial. Kellen, Serial, you've got her against the wall, and Serial shakes her head and slumps. She looks like she's aged a decade. She looks worn, and she's shriveling down. She's slipping down against the wall. Yeah. What, if anything, Kellen, do you do?
I'm not done with her. I'm gonna pick up a rock and I'm gonna keep beating her skull in.
Okay. I
interpose. I'll take the hit.
Well, yeah. Well, does anyone want to protect Lady Serial? We have a protect move. Arianwen steps in. Protect when you want to protect someone. Say what you do. Literally, try to restrain Kellen or be prepared to take the bro.
No, I'm just going to get in the way with my hands in front of my face. Nothing fancier than that.
Okay. That sounds like agilely interposing yourself. Roll plus steal.
All right.
Please succeed.
Okay. 7.
7 all told. On a 7 plus, you take any harm they would have taken. So you take 1 harm, Arianwen. On 7 to 9, you expose yourself to some relevant danger, risk, or consequence, even if they have been protected. The consequence that I think Sister Sal will see unfold is Father Bran, with his skin sloughed away, muscle and blood, rises to his feet behind Arianwen. It appears that Lady Serial has been freed, but the spirit of pestilence, the demon of pestilence, has not been completely banished. What do you do, Sister Sal?
Ladies, quit your petty squabbling. Evil still abounds here.
That really hurts.
I will cast it down.
I will describe that this physical body has a defense of pain means nothing. So they are going to be at advantage. You're going to be at disadvantage to inflict some pain on them. And the other one is already dead, which is going to mean it's going to be difficult to kill it. So what do you do, Sal?
Yeah, I mean, it might be difficult to kill. It might be already dead, but hellfire Well, that's a different kind of pain. So I will use my advantage on my first Hellfire strike to remove their disadvantage.
Their protection of pain means nothing.
Yes, and I think I roll with favor.
Yeah.
Yep. So +2. I rolled a 4 and a 3, give me 7 plus 2 gives me 9.
9. So on a 9, you are going to do away with that. But the demonic strength of this thing swings about at you and batters you for 2 harm. So, but you have removed that pain. How do we know this embodied corpse, this possessed corpse, is feeling pain, Sister Sal?
Because I think sort of where it's blood vessels, because it's got no skin, so we can sort of openly see the blood vessels between the muscles. I think they're now glowing with hellfire blue. Yeah.
Arianwen, you took a blow from Cinna, from Kellen to protect Lady Cyril. Kellen, is your focus Cyril or Father Bran's body?
I think I'm still just trying to get around Arianwen.
I point. I point really hard.
Yes, it's spreading. We have to take out the source.
No, she is clean. Leave her alone.
Okay, so
by the way, that really hurts.
An argument ensues as she struggles to keep your hand and the rock away from Lady Cyril. So yeah, there is an argument going on, Sister Sal, leaving you facing Father Bran. What are you going to do?
I will turn to Father Bran or Father Bran's body and I will start laughing and say, "You thought you were immune to pain? How does it feel now you have felt my pain?" And I would like to use my demonic tongue to confront them.
Oh, confront them with the demonic tongue. What is
I can read it out for the viewers at home.
Please
when
do.
you confront them with violence or face someone thing in a challenge of strength, roll subtle with advantage instead of steal as you mock them. I think I've got good grounds to mock them.
Yes.
Yeah. So
with do advantage. That with advantage. Roll plus subtle, 3d6, take the top 2. Let's see what happens. Oh!
So a 6 and a 5 has been rolled, folks, plus my, I think it's subtle, so +2, so we're on 13.
Oh my. So on a 7+, that defense is erased, but they pick 1. They flee the scene. How do we see this demonic spirit disappear to hell, Sister Sal?
I think we see it start to laugh and then basically hands, sort of black burnt hands come out of the ground and start to pull it sort of as if the ground is just water and starts to pull it into the earth.
Does it take Father Bran's body with it or leave the body behind?
I think it takes Father Bran's body with it.
And I'm desperately resisting as it disappears into the earth. It's saying, "I'll be back." And then I couldn't resist it. Already dead is now really dead. But in terms of, you didn't spare them, so you're not going to get any favor. But I do need you to roll, I think, probably plus favor to see whether you get lucky in terms of whether anything is remaining of these of their.
I rolled a 5 and a 3, and I have favor of 2, so that gives me 10.
Okay, 10+. Say what they give you or what you take from them or their remains. Pick one. A charm or trophy that grants advantage once if you describe its relevance to some future action. An undefined insight that you can use during a future revelation. Which of those do you want?
We does love an advantage when it's needed. So I think it is the sort of melted or slightly melted, deformed cross, a silver cross that was around Father Brand's neck. His skin sloughed off sort of through it. And that is all that is left when he's disappeared on the ground. And I will quickly snatch that up. Precious.
Make a note of that somewhere on the sheet. The argument between Kellen and Arianwen. Kellen, what case are you making here now that you've seen what looks like the demon that was infesting this place having been drawn back down into hell? Does that take some pressure?
Does Lady Serial look any different?
She looks healthier than she was. I think it's fair to say that she still looks 10 years older, and she looked very frail at the point the demon left her. But as the demon has been drawn, bound into Father Brand's body into hell, she does begin to present a healthier aspect.
I mean, I'll quickly say to Quellen, as an expert on things possessed by demons, Quellen, I don't think there's a demon left in there anymore.
I'll put that you said that, nestle that into my mind, but I will drop the rock.
I mean, do you want to invoke your gift to see what you can see here, Kellen? Do you want confirmation, or do you want this left as an open question?
I do want to find out, but mostly I want to find out how it got in.
Oh, right. Well, then, there is, I think I'm right in saying, one of the ways in which your gift works is to observe another place at the same time, or observe another time at the same place.
Mm.
Is that what tempts you?
Yeah, I think that's the most applicable one, yeah.
Okay, invoke your gift. When you call on your patron to empower your gift, agree with the fates what success will look like and roll plus favor. So what exactly will success look like?
It will show me the moment that the demon took over Ariane. I keep forgetting exactly what her name is. Serial.
Lady Serial.
I will see the moment that Serial actually lost control of herself.
Fine. Invoke your gift, roll plus favor.
All right. Yeah.
Oh, 10. On a 7+, they empower your gift and you succeed, but spend favor. So reduce favor by 1. 10+, you pick one. Your gift has a greater impact, scope, scale, or duration. You gain advantage, or your patron is magnanimous and refuses the favor you have sacrificed. Reinstate it.
I think I'll take the favor back.
Fine. And what does this look like on screen? Again, we're back to the FX budget. We spent a bit this episode, but what do we see as you see this moment? And then we'll work out what the moment is.
So I've dropped the rock. The wrath has slipped off my face, and hopefully I can finally push Arianwen aside to take Lady Serial's face in my hand, grasp around her jaw, and look deep into her eyes.
Fine.
As I'm mumbling something under my breath.
And I think that what we will see is the point of view changes as we see you approach the camera, and then the camera angle flips. So we are now seeing from Serial's point of view. And we see Serial in the church. And we see her worshipping with the rest of the village. Father Bran is between carrying out the service as you would expect, is eyeing up the attractive young women of the village. and his eye wanders to an attractive young man of the village. And at the end, he gestures Lady Cyril forward and says, "My lady, was this a gift from you?" And he points to the statue that you recognize as that potentially heretical saint. And she says, "No." And he says, "I wonder where it came from. ... Because at the moment when she picks it up to examine it, a red, kind of blood red tincture comes across the view. And she says, "Ah, perhaps I do recognize it," and puts it back.
As I come out of that vision, we need to find out where that stone came from.
Yeah, we've got something to pursue. Who put? Sorry, go ahead, Ariana.
No, go ahead. Yeah, when you come out of that vision, I give you a push. Plant both small hands on your chest, and I shove you. And I say, "That really hurt."
I'm
She's got kind of a fat lip, and she doesn't look. She looks a little worse for wear.
I'm sorry, and thank you.
All right. Did you find out something?
Yes, I look towards the church. It's that statue of the saint. I think it's
Know it. Ugh. Why do people do these things?
I think it's a summoning totem. We need to find out where it came from. This may not be over.
Enough said. So, we now have the mechanics of leaving. So you'll find there's a tab called Leaving. The Aftermath. If the fate says the heroes have failed, they describe how the settlement succumbs to the darkness. You have not failed. You have freed this village from the shadow of that demon of pestilence. If the fate says that the heroes have successfully freed the settlement from the darkness that beset it, they invite them to describe a brief epilogue for the settlement and/or any surviving or significant NPCs. So let me go to Arianwen. Would you like to start us off with a kind of epilogue for the settlement?
Well, I think that the cases of illness in the settlement rapidly resolve, the demon having gone, and the bruised feelings maybe take a lot longer to resolve. I think Lady Curiel manages to, keep the respect of most of the villagers, but many of them cross themselves when, she enters into the chapel anyway. And I think that based upon my recommendation, that Elfgiva is manumitted, because she was a good girl, and without her help, this would not have been fixed. And she
Fair enough.
deserves a reward. And so you should do this if you're a good person. And if you're not a good person, I want to know about it right now.
Sister Sal, would you like to offer us any aspect of the future for this village?
Yes, I think as a person of the cloth and that they are now priestless, I will lead them in prayer to a god. Tell them that is the right way.
Leave blank.
I'm going to elbow you.
Yeah, I mean, the difficulty is that Arianwen is not formally trained, is she? She believes that she's a saint, and she's a kind of primitive Methodist among these folks. She's, this high church business that Sal's able to do. Ooh. I mean, that's
true.
just they are taught to worship properly inverted commas, according to the book of Sal, ...
That count as express my burden of manipulative?
I think that might fit there. Yeah, we'll come to that before we finish tonight. And finally, Kellen, do you want to add anything to events in the village?
Ever the practical and pagan one, I lead anyone who's not going to the service or potentially after the service, I lead them out to slaughter and burn the animals that remain.
I think that probably sees Effa, the cowardly herder, coming with you and maybe being slightly less cowardly and saying something to you that goes something like, the words you said as we killed and burned the animals, those weren't priestly words.
There's more than one kind of priest, dear.
Lovely, lovely. So that is our bit of finishing off around the village. But then, if the fates say that the hero's supernatural patron is satisfied with what they did, that hero raises increases favor. So, Kellen, I think that the old gods are pleased that you have left a seed of worship in Effa, the cowardly priest. Increase your favor by 1, unless it's already 3. Sister Sal, I think that having taught them to worship properly has gained you some credit with the Lords of Hell. Quite how that is going to help you on your road back to heaven, I'm not certain, but you too can increase favor by 1. And I think, Arianwen, you have consistently stuck to God's view of you and his vision for you, which is that you are a saint and you will bring light where'er you walk. You too can increase favor by 1. Then you clear all the wearied and wounded condition boxes, not dying. So if there's a dying box marked, it stays marked. But wearied and wounded, whether first column or second column or third column, is cleared. If dying is marked, either a hero uses a playbook move or gift to help, or the dying hero throws themselves on the mercy of their supernatural patron and rolls plus favor. Is anyone in that position? I think one of you was. I don't know if you still are.
2 of us are.
Oh, 2 of you are. So, Sal, what about you? It takes a move to clear the dying track.
I do have Pain's Balm.
You do. So do you want to invoke your gift and call on the healing balm of hell?
I think so. There is more work to be done.
Let's have you roll plus favor to invoke your gift.
I only rolled a 2 and a 3, but I am at +3.
You are at +3, so that's just stupid. So that gets you a success on 7+. You are cured. Perhaps that corrosive spit that bit into your skin is healed. But I think that's still 7 to 9, isn't it?
It is.
You attract unwelcome attention. The gift has a complicating effect. The gift takes more from you than you had expected. I think choose disadvantage or mark harm. Given that we are finishing up this village, I'm going to say that you mark wearied. Having cleared it, you now get it back.
Perfectly fine.
Kellen, you also are sitting there on 1 dying. You can leave it there, but if you want to clear that, you're going to have to use a move to do it with, or get somebody else to use a move on you. What's your preference?
My gift can clear dying, it says.
It can.
Here, so...
It can. So you two invoke your gift.
Yes.
Roll plus favor.
9.
9. Exactly the same arrangement. The dying is cleared. That was from the cave troll, wasn't it? That was battered, bruising, and maybe a broken rib or something. So so that is cleared. 7 to 9. I think that again it takes rather more out of you, so you can mark wearied and carry wearied forward.
And that consumes 1 favor.
That
right?
consumes 1 favor. Exactly so. Finally, the fates triggered with both full arrayed. The fates are wholly inexorable. With my thanks to Bernard Cornwell. The fates are wholly inexorable. So while the fates will ask the heroes which kingdom they are traveling into, the hero with the lowest favor rolls plus favor. So first of all, I need to know where you're heading. Now, if you go back to the setting tab, you are in Gwynedd, down there on the bottom left of the map. You could go north into the Christian British kingdom of Reged. You could go east into the Christian kingdom of Elmet, or you could head into the hills of the pagan hill tribes, the southern pagan hill tribes. What is your preference?
I always love Christians.
They're so easy to manipulate.
They are. Elmet gets my vote, but I'm happy to go wherever.
Say
Helen,
the names again, so I want to look at the map.
so
please.
okay, so you can go. You're in Gwynedd. You could go north into Reged, east into Elmet. You could go northeast to the hill tribes, the southern hill tribes. And sorry, I've just noticed you could go southeast into Mercia, Saxon Mercia.
Oh, we could convert the pagans.
Which sister of the church could not agree to that?
Yeah, I want to go to a pagan place because I think they need our help even more.
Well, you've
The
got
Lord
two-
the Lord didn't go among the healthy; he went among the sick.
Well, you've got 2 choices of pagan here. You've got pagan Saxon Mercia, from your point of view, or you've got pagan British hill tribes.
Oh,
Do you want to split the difference between those 2, Kellen?
I'd like to ask if we were to, say, follow where we were to try to track down where that statue came from. Is there anything that would point to either of those being more likely?
Whichever
No,
one you pick, mate.
exactly.
Mhm.
Yeah, this
fates are
we're
inexorable.
the fates are inexorable. We are in the business of co-creation, so it's a question of where it would be interesting to find some source for this.
Yeah, I'm just thinking that I don't know anything about these historical places, but
Oh, and you don't need to. It's not that you know. You can look at Wikipedia. You'll find none of this stuff about pustules. Fear not.
Brandon seems excited about Saxons. Let's go Saxons.
Okay.
To Mercia it is.
To
Warmer
Mercia.
it's kind of chilly, you know. She says, wrapping her arms around herself. Maybe it'll be warmer if we go south.
Okay, so you are going to head south into Mercia. Who currently has the lowest favor?
I think we're all the same.
Oh,
Yep.
really? Are you all on what, +2?
Yep.
Okay, so I will roll a d6 and randomly allocate somebody. 1, 2, 3, 4. Arianwen, would you roll 2d6 plus your favor?
Who bet? Here we go. 5.
5. Brackajack. On 6 minus, the fates will say how each hero begins the next key scene at disadvantage. So disadvantage is swilling about. Whatever the outcome of this roll, the fates rolls or chooses the nature of the group of travelers the heroes encounter and their heritage. Let me roll a 2d6. 4 and 2. So this is either pilgrims or something spiritual, that the faction the heroes are traveling from. So it's either Christian missionaries heading into Saxon Mercia, or heading out of Saxon Mercia, or it is herders and hunters. I think, yeah, I'm going to have some battered Christian missionaries heading out of Mercia back to Gwynedd. Okay, so that's who we're dealing with. Then the fates ask the heroes to agree if the travelers. So, what do these travelers do? Kellen, I asked the last question too. Let me go around to Sister Sal. Sister Sal, do these travelers describe an ill that you are drawn to address? Do they tell of a war band of raiders heading for Dincynog? Saxons heading to raid the village you've just left? Which of those is true?
I think so. They're traveling in the same direction as
Oh,
us.
sorry. There is another one. Invite you to share their campfire.
Oh, they're going to invite us to share their campfire.
Okay.
It's really terrible weather, isn't it? And that's why we're at disadvantage, because we're being wet the entire night.
I think
Terrible.
so. Terrible rainstorm.
So, as you settle around the campfire of these missionaries, because there's a Christian sister, Arianwen takes any opportunity to remind people that if she isn't already a saint, she will be one day. And Kellen, in his usually slightly reticent, I'll just watch some of this, is that slightly mysterious lady sat just on the edge of the firelight. So if that's the scene that's set up, you'll see on the leaving tab, there's a move called a shared campfire. There are 2 bullet points there. If you take the opportunity to talk to one of the travelers about a marked burden, I should say, in the hope of putting it behind you, then that's an option. I think I'm right in saying, Sal, that you're... Oh, no. Kellen marked Wrath, didn't you?
Yep. We've all marked burdens, it
Oh,
seems.
fair enough. Well, if you are interested in trying to put that behind you so it's ready to be marked again in the future, you could spend some time talking to one of these missionaries and unburdening yourself literally and hoping that that you get some solace from them. Alternatively, you could take the opportunity to ask one of the travelers about the faction into which you are traveling. So you could ask them for news of Mercia. Arianwen. Oh, go on. No, sit. Go ahead, Kellen.
Yeah.
I think talking to Christian
missionaries
would just make me angrier. So I don't think that would really go over that well. So I think I'm just gonna like tersely interrogate them about what's happened to them, why they're leaving.
Okay, well, the next part of this move is say how you go about establishing good terms with them and roll to look about you with the attribute the fate says is most relevant. So interrogate sounds like steal to me.
Yeah.
Roll plus steal. Seven. Okay, so look about you on a 7 plus. Pick one. Well, actually, no, the fate tells you something relevant. What would you like to know?
One thing there, is this roll at disadvantage? Because
it is. It is. I'm sorry. Yeah, all of these scenes are at disadvantage because of that disastrous roll that Arianwen made as you headed off in this direction.
Right.
The Lord has decided that we need to be challenged.
Fine. So would you roll another 1d6, please? And we'll, 2 and a 1. Oh, so that's 2-1 plus steal. I think that's not looking good. So on a 6-, mark shade and expect the worst. Ooh, that's interesting. Ooh, let me mark some shade and expect the worst. I want to think about the worst once I've heard what happens with the other conversations. Right. Sal, what are you inclined to do around the campfire?
Not roll a dice. I think it is. I'd like to get rid of my burden.
Okay, so what it says is seek solace in friendship, which all really ought to be on that page, but it isn't. And now I'm wondering where I put the damn thing. Oh, that's embarrassing.
Yes, no, I can see it. It's on.
It's on the com move. I'll put it into com moves. Fine, go ahead. Seek solace in friendship. How do you kind of get onto good terms? What do we see that will allow me to judge the attribute?
Well, I think it's describing that you know, when I ask people to do things, they always seem to, it's my looks. Everybody seems to keep reacting to my looks. Very, very shallow. Don't know why.
Now
And it's
you
that
have
sort of expression that I know it's my looks that manipulate people.
fine. Now you've got an option here. The option is you can either roll the dice or you can just accept a 7 to 9. So wise is their counsel that you honor their heritage by accepting their patron as a potential source of aid in the future.
I'm going to take, because I'd be rolling at disadvantage anyway. Does the disadvantage roll forwards?
No, it's just this scene.
Oh well, yeah. Let's not roll at disadvantage. I'll take the 7 to 9.
Okay, so further down your character
Yes.
keeper, there's a place where you will find the one true God, I think,
The Christ God.
the Christ God,
That's the
and
one.
that now you can that God is now listening to you. You have honored God, right? And it
I've only got
says,
one in all them.
I think that maybe, where is it?
57.
Yeah. Oh, no, all of those should be 0.
Very well. Well, I'll leave one at 1.
Yeah. I'll put 0 in there and we'll make that a bit more visible. There you go. The Christ God. What it says is, you now track favor with this new patron alongside any existing patrons, and it starts at 0, not 1.
I'm going to put other patrons, the other tower. I'm going to put that as hell.
No, remember that favor to hell is your main. It's up there on favor.
Oh, it's up. Okay, it's up there. Fair enough.
Yeah, so these are other patrons than the ones you start play with. So God is now prepared to listen to you, Sister Sal.
That's good.
And what better way to set off on your way back to heaven? You can hear those trumpets already. Job done. We've had Kellen. Oh, go on.
One person left.
One person left. Arianwen. Do you want to try and get rid of your burden, or make your burden available to be marked again later? Or do you want to find out something about Mercia?
But so if I want to try and get rid of my burden, I do a thing.
Yeah.
I think we haven't found anything out about where we're going, right?
No.
And these guys don't look so great. So I'm going to see if I can find out what's going on, because
Okay.
God's plan always works better if you know what you're doing.
And what's the setup for interrogation? We know that Kellen tried risk interrogation. What's your approach?
I am going to be entertaining.
Fine.
I'm going to teach them some silly songs that I knew to try and lift their spirits, because they don't look so good.
I think that's subtle or sense. To know the song sense. Fine. To know some entertaining songs to sing around a campfire that is not kumbaya.
No, and I'm going to be antic about it, to dance around as the spirit may move me and stuff like that. And I'm probably in the middle of it, I'm going to sneeze really hard. So, because it's disadvantage, right?
Yes.
So Here we go. And
Oh,
I got a 4. Wow.
wow. A pair of
And a,
ones. What meant
and
a
a 6.
6.
And a 6.
Oh, there is no
It
justice in the
started.
world.
So what this means is it started really well. And then I think I tripped and I managed to get my garment in the fire. And it's like I had to stop and beat it out and pour somebody's wine flask over it to turn the fire out. Um, and I look completely ridiculous.
And I think that I'm going to bind together your expect the worst to Kellen's expect the worst, and to have a figure just run out of the darkness, screaming. And I've just realized how long I've let that half run. So let's take a break now. It is 25 minutes to the hour. Shall we make it 10 minutes? Because I've stolen a break from you. Yeah. Back at 45 minutes past. Yeah.
Right.
See you then. So we come back from that extended first half. I apologize to players for not taking a break 30 minutes ago. We come back to someone's coming screaming out of the darkness to the firelight, just on the Mercian side of a river that divides the two kingdoms. And at the same time, Sister Sal, having now gained the ear of God. How does God speak to you, Sal?
I think it is in a similar voice to the way hell speaks to me, but the opposite sort of tone. Yeah, so I don't want to go full sort of Animal House, devil and angel, but yeah, definitely there is a clear divide between the
So,
two.
unless hell were being deliberately manipulative, this is actually the voice of God and his angels.
It should be.
Exactly so. Exactly so. Fine. So, I think what God says to you is, my sister, I would be grateful to you if you were to lead your fellows to help someone on my behalf.
Very well.
Will you do this for me, sister?
I will help one of your flock.
For I look into the hearts of all creatures, sister, and I see that though you have fallen, you seek to rise again. And this, sorry, someone's just put in the chat. God sounds like a healthier version of Arianwen. And this would be a step on the ladder to the gates of glory, Sal. What does he want? He wants you to visit visit a miracle upon a place which, unsurprisingly, is haunted by an evil spirit. Will you agree, Sal?
I will indeed visit a miracle upon this haunting spirit.
Then you have my favor, Sal. And at which point the figure who stumbled into the firelight is shouting, "Evil spirit! Evil spirit! We are haunted by an evil spirit!" Kellen, what do you do with this young man that has stumbled into the firelight?
I don't think I'm gonna interact with him personally. I think I'm just gonna, keep poking the fire and just go, that does seem to be a pattern with you people.
Hey,
Ah,
you want to get into some theological doing the dozens? I'm happy to do it. You guys have your share of evil things.
um, he is a Christian trader, and many of the folk of Mercia are happy to trade with anyone as long as you don't rub their noses in their pagan beliefs. Um, but he and several others were returning to Gwynedd, and the path they take, and indeed the path you are heading towards, as these missionaries will confirm, leads through a steep-sided ravine. And when this trader was heading through that ravine with his two or three other traders, a spirit appeared and struck them dead and sent him running for help. Okay, so we are looking at some kind of haunting of a ravine up yonder. Sal, you know God is sending you this way. This man is saying he wants some help. What do you say to the other two heroes that is going to mean they are convinced to accompany you?
I'm gonna turn to Arianwen and say, I believe God wants us to help um, this person. And
Of
clearly,
course, he's beset by an evil spirit.
we must
Even I
banish
know
the
that.
evil spirit because it threatens all people, but specifically the
You're right.
Christ child's people.
I, I did so much want to. That was an interesting way of putting it. I did so much want to have a theological discussion with these fine fellows, but I think you're right. This is more important.
Quellen, that's three sisters, shall it be?
Our help is needed. So it
And
shall be.
Hey, I clap my hands.
you are heroes. You need to do heroic things. Um, so cut to having set off immediately by torchlight towards this ravine. Um, and clearly, lines of sight are not good. There is a path, maybe a meter or two wide, running between these quite steep-sided, rocky escarpments. Rocks have fallen down in places. It will be difficult to get a wagon through here, but a mule or as most trade is on foot, it's fine. So, Sister Sal, do you lead the way?
I will lead the way, yes.
Um, it is fair to say that there is an uncomfortable feeling here. Kellen, you're a mystic. You have relations to the world of the other world. What what feeling do you get as you approach the ravine, Kellen?
I think there's these waves of like prickling along the skin, not because of the temperature, but it's like every couple seconds or so get this intense itch that kind of runs across your skin.
Okay. Um, Sal, clearly there is a spirit here that infests this place. How are you going to, in some way, manage the challenge it presents?
Um,
What do you do? What we see you doing?
I think I'm s- um, so I'd like one of my colleagues to be holding the torch behind me, so I'm sort of silhouetted, and therefore my night vision isn't super ruined. I'd like to scan the ravine and see some sort of physical evidence where this spirit is manifesting itself.
Yeah,
Um,
dead body or two.
indeed, indeed. That sounds like look about you, so I think this is sense. So roll with sense to manage this risk.
I rolled a 3 and a 3, but luckily I have 1 in sense, giving me 7.
Okay, on 7 to 9. There is a sense that as you approach the bodies, the two bodies that lie here, um, there's a sense that something is withdrawing away from you. That itching, that prickling, that discomfort that all three of you have sensed eases a little as you approach the bodies. So I think, though respite is temporary, it has gone away from these bodies, but I don't think it's gone away. Yeah? Do you proceed through the ravine in pursuit of it, Sal?
No, I think we should um, stop it coming back to these bodies. We should consecrate the bodies to protect them if the evil returns.
Okay. And how do you propose doing that?
That's a damn good point. How would we constant? Um, I mean, I don't know much about Christian faith in this period of time. Um, how does,
Well, you have a blank canvas then.
yeah, I think burning was a perfectly good method of sending somebody on their way. Yeah, we ain't got time to dig a grave, so burning's the order of the day.
You could pile rocks over them. That would be an appropriate burial form. Ariane, when do you have a view?
Well, we have to pronounce extreme function, she says, wrinkling her brow.
Extreme punctuation, I think, is what
Extreme
you're.
punctuation. Yes, that thing, the what the priest says to the dying.
Well, both you two people are people of gods. So you can both. Oh, I don't know if they're Christian or Saxon. I will put them to the torch. You two say some good words about them, and hopefully they will be protected by whatever God looks over them. Sounds fair?
Oh, says Ariane, puts her hand to her forehead. It's like, I totally forgot to tell those people to remember our encounter so that later when I get canonized, they would know.
Well, hopefully we can go back to them.
All right. Sure. God, bless these two unfortunate souls and see their souls onto heaven or wherever. Um, in your name, this I pray. She dribbles some stuff on their foreheads that might be holy water.
A canteen full of it. Um, and you get some scrub wood from around the ravine, Sal, and build a pyre and set them afire. Yeah. Um, Sal, the light of the burial fire, the cremation fire, illuminates a crack in the wall of the ravine. It
What
is
is it
fair
with
to say,
crevices and cracks?
I know, I know. What can I tell you? What can I tell you? Um, uh, that you may be able to remove the bodies, but this spirit is still going to prey on this place until you visit a miracle upon it.
The omens are strong, sisters. The omens are strong. Another crevice. I believe evil lurks in all crevices.
So how do we see you approaching this to try and manage any risk associated with it, Sal?
I think now I'll have the torch in hand, and the other hand ready to cast hellfire.
Okay. Let's have you roll. This sounds like sense. It sounds like you're taking a careful approach, keeping your wits about you, trying to illuminate the what's in front of you. Yeah?
Yep.
Okay.
Oh, that's bad. A 1 and a 2.
My
So
goodness
that
me.
goes up to 4. Woo!
Woot woot. How remarkable. As you approach, Kellen, what tells you that this spirit is getting closer again? Is it again more of this prickling?
So I'm gonna build on the theme of the like phantom wind that the prickling I started with, in that we feel no wind, but the smoke from the fire behaves erratically, like it's being sucked into places or dispersing, even though there is nothing actually we can feel.
And does that draw your attention?
Yes.
You look towards the way that these flames and smoke are moving. And I suppose all three of you glance back over your shoulder at the pyre when the spirit attacks you from behind. Let's see who it goes for.
I think on my low roll.
I think it's got to be you, isn't it?
Yeah, I was at the front and I rolled badly.
Yeah,
It's gotta be him, isn't it?
You are all at disadvantage because the threat surprises you. What do you do, Sal, when it inflicts 2 harm on you? There's a it kind of reaches through you and you feel a chill around the crumb of hellfire that is your heart. What do you do?
I think, I'm going to turn it and say, is that the best you can do?
What is your intention here? Because what you are facing is an angry spirit, fair to say. And this angry spirit it is incorporeal and it is swift. Those are the defenses you need to overcome here somehow.
Well, I think demonic tongue. Yeah. As long as it can understand. I mean, if it's
well, of course it can understand.
I mean, clearly there must be some limits to demonic tongue. If it's a horde of insects, I can't really see how you can sort of like, ooh.
So what is your intention with how does this relate to either its incorporeal nature or its pace, its speed, its capacity to move at the speed of thought?
Yeah, no, I think, is that the best you can do? I'm surely if you showed yourself, you could do better.
Right.
So I want it to manifest itself.
Fine. So you roll plus subtle to try to goad it into manifesting.
Showing itself. Oh, another good roll. So a 4 and a 6 plus 2, 12.
12 to confront this creature on a 12. That's all good. 7 plus. It does indeed manifest. What form does it take when it manifests, Arianwen? What do we see as this incorporeal spirit forms?
We see the form of a beautiful young woman, albeit made out of smoke. You can see in the various shades of the smoke, her features and the fact that she was once lovely when alive.
Okay, I like that. On a 10 plus, you also, oh no, it gets to do something. What could I have it do? I could have it. I think it'll just inflict harm on you. That seems to me to be the straightforward thing to do. So you take another 1 harm.
But I rolled 10 plus. So
you did, and on a 10 plus, you then get to pick 1. Force them to where they're disadvantaged, reduce harm by 1 by sacrificing your weapon, block all harm by sacrificing shield or mail, So, do you want to sacrifice a weapon here?
I want to force them. I'll take the one harm, but I want to force them into disadvantage.
Fine. Never a bad move. Helen, you spin round. You were distracted by the fire. Sal lets out some exclamation. All of you turn round. You see this smoky outline, this corporeal outline. What do you do, Kellen?
So it's still blindingly fast, even though it's got
It is. It is.
more corporeal form.
So, yeah, you need to find some way to rid it of its swiftness.
It'd be easier if I knew what it wanted.
No.
Look about you, see if there's anything in the scene that could provide you with that information.
Yeah, I think I'll do that.
Okay, so roll plus sense to look about you.
There is an advantage. Well, it's disadvantage.
It's disadvantage, so you've got space to do that. If you want to capitalize on that, you could roll 3d6, take the top two.
Considering the 10 plus outcome of look about you is gain advantage.
Sure, let's go for it.
The thing I love about playing with Paul is he reads the rules.
Well,
Good to have one of those.
I'm very grateful. Go ahead. Ooh,
That's a 10.
ooh, there you go. Wasn't that worthwhile? So on a 10 plus, the Fates tells you something relevant. The packs of the traders who are passing through have been torn apart, and the contents of those packs are thrown around the ravine. And you think that it's looking for something that those traders might have had.
Are they any particular kind of trader?
Can I go further than that? Well,
Like, are
okay.
they trading livestock?
The GM may ask you to suggest something interests you. What do you? No, I don't think it's livestock. It's going to be something they could carry.
Hmm.
So it's portable. What interests you as something it might want that they were carrying?
I think they were carrying fabrics.
Okay. Rich fabrics?
Yeah.
Rich fabrics. Okay. So these are strewn about. Arianwen, you too spin around when Sister Sal evinces an expletive in response to having her cinder of a heart grasped by a spirit. What do you do, Arianwen, when you see what we've got so far?
So the first thing that I do is I am thunderstruck. There is a moment of recognition, sympathy, something like that. A reaction that neither of you have ever seen Arianwen have before. And Arianwen takes her ragged garment and she gives an appropriate courtly curtsy.
What is her intention here? To show honor and respect?
Yes, to understand this lady's pain. Because clearly she has that.
And so are you trying to attract her attention, which will get rid of that defense of swiftness, so she fixes her attention on you?
Yes, to get her to calm down.
I think
she is frantic because she is desperate, and I desire her to know that we respect her and wish to free her from her burden.
Okay, then I think that's roll with subtle to convince her of this. So let's have you confront her with subtle.
Okay. May I use, you see it's obvious?
Sorry, say it again.
May I use, you see it's obvious?
Oh, yes, I think you might. Let's have a
And
look.
she
What does
does,
that do?
I said,
Oh,
oh,
no, not
oh,
really, because that
okay,
requires you to lay out the logic of
fair enough.
yeah, I think that's
Okay,
in the moment trickier.
okay, then I shot to it. Here we go. 9.
9. Okay, so that she freezes her attention on you. The smoke takes on an absolutely solid outline. So she is no longer a difficult target because of her swiftness. You have indeed got her attention. And the face becomes slightly clearer, the body becomes slightly clearer. Honor plus defenses are raised, but they pick 1. I think she chooses to manifest. She manifests as a beautiful young woman dressed in ragged clothes. Perhaps clothes as ragged as yours, Arianwen. Helen, you've been looking around. You've been putting 2 and 2 together. Arianwen has prompted this spirit to take on an actual physical manifestation of her form in life. What do you do, Kellen?
I don't think actually banishing the spirit would be a good idea. I think we can properly reach her. I'm going to pick up some of the better fabrics that are strewn about, and I'm gonna bundle them up in my arms and like hold them out to her.
I'm thinking that is either it sounds like a very cunning plan to me. So I think it's either sense to make the connection or subtle to be convincingly appropriate in your offering. Which one's your choice? Or have you got a better offer for me?
The subtle is my worst stat, but I think that's more appropriate to what I'm actually trying to do.
Okay. And I think that this is an attempt to humble her, but mollify in this context, I think is better. So let's have you roll plus subtle. You got an advantage,
Get
remember?
that.
You've
He
got
It's
doesn't
still a
need it.
10. Oh, it's still an 11.
Oh, look, it's 2 6s. Who needs a third dice? Ha!
Or a
Okay,
positive stat.
so on a 7 plus, they are at your mercy, Helen. Do they receive it? Or do
Yes.
you end them? They receive it. Thank you. If you spare them, their faction owes you a debt. I think that they are Mercian. So if you want to go down to where it says settlement or faction and just write Mercia in, then Mercia owes you a debt. Go beyond that on 10 plus.
Oh.
Say what
Wait,
they.
what?
Oh no, sorry. Yeah. Put your debt in. Sorry, I'm getting ahead of myself.
Right.
On a 10 plus, say what they give you or what you take from them and their remains. A charm or trophy that grants advantage. I don't think an unchecked item of gear from your gear list is appropriate, or an undefined insight that you can use during a future revelation. Because she takes the gift. Yeah? Well, down the bottom under notes, make a note that you have an insight in hand. And she bows in a courtly manner to you, and then to Arianwen, and then with a pause to Sal, who she says, "Forgive me." And then she and the bundle of fabric disperse, as if 'twas a miracle. Well done.
When,
Sal,
oh,
Sal, just a while, you did take that favor from God, didn't you?
I did.
Great. Okay. Sorry, Ariane.
Ariane has I have scooted myself in raw terror away from the site of this, just a few feet, and I am curled up into a ball, uh, m- uh, talking to myself,
Wow.
and I am saying, no, no, I can't. They'll find me. They'll find me. I can't do that. Please don't make me do that.
I think you may want
She
to
is she is weeping in terror.
I think you may want to make a note in your notes section about, is something hunting me? Am I being hunted? Um, and that completes leaving, and we're back to arriving at your next settlement. So what I think we'll get as far as tonight is I think we'll arrive there, we'll set up the scenes, and then we'll probably explore that next time. But let us move to arriving. Signs and oh, sorry, I need to do something with at signs and portents. Dismal and dreary are marked on the shade track. So that means I start this settlement with 2 ticks in the shade track. So, c'est la vie. Arriving. This is an Anglo-Saxon settlement, a Saxon settlement. So let me come up with a name for it. So let us call it Lynn and roll a couple of dice, see what happens. That is a pair of ones. Okay. Lynn 1 and 1, and then 2d6. 2 and a 1. Lynbeck. This is the settlement of Lynbeck. The Saxon settlement of Lynbeck. Oops. In Mercia. Let us see what is amiss here. You arrive in sight of Lynbeck, and as before, we shape the nature of the darkness. So, let's start this time with Kellen. Kellen, describe something unusual, concerning, or suspicious you can see from a distance.
Before I answer that, what's the like? I can't think of a better term, but the like technology level. Like, do Saxons live in great
No,
buildings? In
no.
what?
I mean, if you've seen any of the Vikings TV series, or if you've seen anything set in a Saxon, its technology is wood. Um, the principal difference between Christians and Saxons is Christians have round huts and Saxons have rectangular huts. There will be a large building in the middle of the settlement, which is the Lord's Hall, and the rest are hovels stroke cottages.
Hmm.
Only the kind of royal seats. And I haven't written that bit yet, so it can't be the royal seat of Tamwortham.
Uh, I think that there are several half burned down houses that still haven't been pulled down. Like, clearly it's a hazard to keep them around. Someone could go in there and they could collapse or whatever, but they left them standing.
So some of the buildings have been burned down, but remain bracket dangerously standing. Okay, I like that. What Sal? No, let me go to Ariane one. I asked you a different way. Arianryn, refer to an emotion or memory the sight of the settlement stirs in you.
So the settlement is damaged, and what else have we established about it?
Not a lot. Some of the buildings have been burned down, but remain dangerously standing. So, the roofs could fall in on someone. Maybe there's some boards in the floor that could collapse, causing people to break their legs. They're a hazard. But beyond that, nothing. You get to tell me what feeling you get about this place.
Well, the
Careful
memory
about remember.
the
There
memory
are rules
is
that trigger a memory for you.
yes.
And this isn't one of them. This is what feeling,
Okay.
what gut feeling do you get?
Fine. Sadness.
Do you want to get malevolence? Well, you want to.
No, not malevolence. Just a tragedy that occurred here. Maybe an accident or just something like that.
Sense of pain of a tragedy.
Yes.
Okay. Go with that. And finally, Sister, tell me something more allegorical, something referring to a dream, vision, premonition that suddenly becomes relevant.
Oh, I think I remember a premonition from the previous night when we were setting fire to those bodies. A burning building or a husk of a building and the roof falling in and hitting a child. Not killing a child, hitting a child.
Collapsing onto a child.
Yes.
Yeah.
And at that point, we hear a roof.
Well, you might have an option to have that happen next. The next thing I want is to create our significant people. So I think I started with Kellen, then Arianwen, then Sal. So let me start with Arianwen this time. Arianwen, we're going to create our cast of 3 significant NPCs. You can do this by choice or roll some dice for a descriptor and their role.
Where are they at for the dice?
They're on the Lindbeck tab.
Okay, Lindbeck. Mm-hmm. Let's see. I think so and pick either a role at the hall or village, yes?
Exactly.
Okay. I think a bitter air.
A bitter air. Fine. Okay. And if you want to look at the section below that on that tab, you can find some Saxon names that you can name them if you want to. But I will add a bitter air. Yeah, we'll name them in a moment. Fine. Let me go next to Sal. Sal, who do you want to add to our cast of characters for this settlement of Lindbeck?
Let's have the young loon.
The young loon. Okay. That'll be in the village. So we got a young loon. Oh, that's odd. There we go. Young loon. Okay, you can look out a Saxon name for them. And finally, Kellen, who do you want to be part of our cast of characters?
I think it'd be fun to double up maybe and go for an obnoxious heir as well.
Oh, that's interesting. There can only be one who's first in line, but there's no reason why there shouldn't be another relative who fulfills another role. So, for instance, are they the champion of the landholder? Because
Sure.
technically, you can only tick one of those once. And what is the characteristic of that champion?
Mm, dishonest.
And for in terms of a note, we are making it clear that both the heir and the champion are their siblings or somehow related. They both have a claim, were the lord or lady of this place to unfortunately meet at their end. I'm going to roll some dice for the lord or lady. That is a 3, 4. I'm going to go with honest lord, and I'll stick with a straightforward name off the list. 1 and 4. Bjorn, and then Bjorn 3, 2. Bjornfrith. So honest Lord Bjornfrith. Add them. There we go. Honest Lord Bjornfrith. We got a bitter heir. Whoever created the bitter heir, if they want to give them a name in that box. And we also have the dishonest champion. And if we could gender them in some way, that would be helpful. Kinewolf. Ah, good word. Sig, the young loon. We've got the bitter heir is called Cinewolf. And the dishonest champion will appear shortly. Calwiga. God, great stuff. Right. And this is the son who is the heir and the daughter who is the champion and would like to be the heir, perhaps. Okay, these are great. Let us consider the locality then. Oh no! First of all, give me some idea of do we see a scene? I've just realised I've spelled that wrong. Do we see a scene in which honest Lord Bjornfrith, his daughter Calwiga, and his son Kinewolf are interacting? I'm going to put Lord Bjornfrith in the big chair in the hall. What do we see Calwiga doing in the hall that suggests that she's not entirely a straight arrow, Kellen?
I think she's walking around. She's clad fully in like her warrior gear, and she's boasting, just telling a story that could, like, there's nothing physically preventing it from being true, but everyone just knows it isn't.
So that makes it sound like people know that she at least exaggerates and might lie.
But they want to believe her.
Ah, right. Okay.
They like her.
They like her. And what do we see Kinewolf doing at this point, which suggests that he is not entirely happy with the world and perhaps even a little bitter?
I think that he is a little apart from the sort of, convivialness. He has an apple, I think, and he is peeling it with a knife, in little strips, and kind of just scowling, right, exactly, scowling down upon this, and it's like, and he's clearly, desirous that this whole business is over.
Okay.
this necessary audience that his father insists on having, which he thinks is pointless.
And then, Sal, what does Sig do, who's in the hall with everyone else? What does he do that reveals him to be the loon? And how young is young?
I think he's sort of high teens,
Fine.
very low 20s.
Yeah. So he's a young man. And what does he do which attracts everyone in the hall's attention, perhaps away from the boasting Caloiga?
I think we see him chasing some food across the table with completely the wrong implement. Yeah. And he's chasing it up and down the table like it's going out of fashion.
And then he grabs hold of the apple and begins to peel it with a wooden spoon. I like those. Fine. And finally, before you travel down to the settlement, we do need to add some places of interest. So I can't quite remember how far I got, but let me go to Arianwen. Do you want to choose the nature of the place or the descriptor of the place?
Nature, I guess. What choices do I have?
Okay, so you've got everything from ancient hill fort down to standing stones. It's just a bit further on from the people of the settlement.
Okay, hang on. I'm looking in the wrong spot.
Column AA.
There we go. Yeah. So the place of interest, I think, is I'm going to say it's an island. It's a river island.
Fine. So it's an island. Sister Sal, how would you describe this island?
Unholy.
If in doubt, have an unholy island. In a broad river. There we go. Oh, Borad River. Sorry.
The local dialect.
Yes.
A new element.
Okay. And then Helen. Oh no, let me ask Paul. Do you want to go with another descriptor or do you want to go with a place?
I'll go with a place if some
Go on.
descriptor. Well, I mean, we got a river. An estuary would be.
A nice change.
Yeah.
Estuary. What is the nature? What is the descriptor of this estuary, Kellen?
Hold on, need to check what an estuary is.
Oh, it's the point where a river would meet the sea. So it'll tend to
Right.
be a broad inlet.
The lake, if you don't want to go all the way to the sea.
I suppose so. But we've got an estuary in play. So
Okay.
this unholy island's in the estuary, which means that this is a coastal settlement.
I think it's unpredictable.
Ooh.
Oh, maybe it has strange tides.
Strange tides. Ha 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 ha. Strange tides, sir. Yes, there are strange tides here. And I think what we'll do is I'm inclined to pause there because we got the location, we got the people, we can sort out what's going on and then play through to see what happens next time. And maybe we'll have Will to join us. So I'm going to pause there and say that is the end of episode 2. I'd like a quick run round stars and wishes, if that's okay. Stars. Brandon, any stars, any wishes? Oh,
They liked the. Sorry.
sorry, go ahead. Sorry, I for a
Um,
moment then you weren't coming through.
well, I particularly liked the spirit in the ravine and how we made it out to be, a young woman, and the whole resolution of that. That was all very satisfying.
Yeah,
Um,
I'd agree. Any wishes?
and wishes. Yeah, I'd like to, go further down the rabbit hole of who Ariane really is.
Ooh.
Do you want us to like prod her, trying to get at some of that?
Oh, yes, yes. Well, I mean, you should feel perfectly, you should be perfectly well to ask her what the hell all that was at the ravine, right? Which nobody has said a word about.
And a way to do that might be to begin to phrase some insights that not only reveal the darkness, but in some way play into what we know about Ariana already. For instance, that would mechanically provide a way to do that. Sinner, any stars, any wishes?
Uh, I really like the moment where like Ariane jumped in front of Kellen when she was trying to beat that woman to death. That was a cool moment.
Yeah.
Uh, um, yeah.
Any wishes?
Not that I can think of, no.
Okay, well, if something crops up between now and next time, let us know.
Yep.
Paul, any stars, any wishes?
Yeah, I liked the whole scene when both Brandon and Cinna sort of concentrate on each other. I think that went,
While you're wrestling a dead priest to the
yeah,
ground.
I think that went just to about the right level, considering the cats and the safe tools. I think that was nicely done by both of them. Um, yeah, wishes going forwards. Yeah, I'd like to get Will on board pretty quickly.
Yeah, I
See how
might
that
try to
goes.
do that before we meet.
Yeah, yeah.
Uh, yeah, great. For me, stars. I did like the way that you approached the confrontations, because I think you've twigged that this is not just about beating them with a stick. There are different ways to skin the pigs, and I thought that you know, uh, the young woman, the linens, the rich fabrics, and then really mollifying her rather than trying to do away with her. I thought that was lovely. So yeah, that was very rewarding for me. And seeing a skinless priest sucked through the ground into hell can never be a bad thing. So all of that was great for me. Wishes to get Will in before we kick off next time. Maybe I can find some time between now and then for he and I to run through character creation and to see what's going on at Lindbeck. And my final question is it okay for me to publish this on mine and the Open Hearth YouTube channel? Thank you very much.
Stop. XP.
Oh, XP. Well done, that man. Here am I so excited to move on, and you're dealing with XP. It's Paul. He reads the rules. Okay. So, XP. Let's start with our demonic nun then. Um, where are we? Down here. Okay, so did your burden make a difference for good or ill?
My burden being manipulation.
Yeah,
Yes, I do believe it did.
I
Yes,
would
I
not
definitely
disagree. So you can
I
have an
genuinely do believe.
XP. You can have an XP for that. And did you address a challenge with forbidden knowledge?
I don't want to keep saying, well, I used hellfire. But I mean, forbidden knowledge is a bit sort of wide and
Yeah, I mean, I suppose knowledge here is the key phrase. Hellfire is something you can do. I'm not sure it's knowledge.
fair enough.
Okay. I think it's about can you begin to bind in some stuff that a demon would know that somebody else might not? And that might be coming out of how you phrase an insight. Oh, and
Oh, well,
No,
I did know about there was the smoke from the bones.
that is fair. That is fair. I think in the way you joined that narrative, I'll give you the benefit of that. So you have filled all 6 of the track. You
I have.
clear that and choose an improvement from what's on the table below. Yeah?
Excellent. Move on.
Okay. Let's move along to Sinner. Did your burden make a difference for good or ill? I thought I saw a bit of wrath.
I'm not sure if it was good or ill. I'm not sure which one it is, but it made a difference.
It did. It did. And that's really what it's about. Did we see that burden play a part? So yeah, you can have one for that. And did you address a challenge with ancient law?
I did.
Tell us.
I clicked that box because I used the gift, but I don't remember what I used the gift for.
Fair point. I think, I think you did a bit of healing at one point with that gift.
Yeah.
So that's fine. That is your ancient law. Fine, you can have 2 XP. And finally, Arianwen the Loon, did we see your wrath play a part here?
I did. I smote the demon lady on behalf of God.
Yes, you did. You successfully damaged her black feathered wings with your stick.
Yes.
Which some of us would prefer to call a cudgel, but I'll go with stick.
It's a quarterstaff.
Oh, it's a staff. It's a big stick.
It is a staff. It's a big
It's a
stick,
very
not
big
a little
stick.
stick.
Okay. Did you address a challenge with lunacy? It is probably the easiest tick to get in the book, to be honest. You were beautifully lunatic.
Did I ever address anything without?
No, there was always a sense of that edge of lunacy in your. I may need to make that a bigger hill to climb, but at the moment, your lunacy is clear to all, so you get 2. Again, you filled it. Clear that and choose an advance from the list below. And what are we looking at the top? Sinner, have you been ticking those attributes as you've been using them?
Yes, I just unchecked them.
And then cleared them to... Yeah. I'm with you. Fine. Okay. So there we are done. So now I will stop the recording on the count of 3. 1, 2...